Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Gina and let's talk about plants. So today's video should be quite the interesting video. So this past summer I did two videos. One was a struggle plants video and the other one was plants I wish were doing better. So I thought it would be fun to take a look at a few of those plants from those videos to see how they're doing. There will be some good, there will be some bad, and there will be some ugly. All right, so I believe there are about 7 plants that we're going to be looking at. And I will include some video if I have it from like those previous videos, just little snippets here so you can see what they were looking like then and what they're looking like now. So there's I think mostly good outcomes, but there are a couple really bad ones, like a couple of really stinkers, some real stinkers. So yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so just for positivity's sake, we'll start out with a good thing. So one of the things I showed you was I had Discidias on cork bark. So here you can see what they were looking like back then in the previous video. So I had said in that video that my thoughts on helping these plants would be to take them off of the cork bark because I was doing a really poor job of keeping up with watering them on the cork bark. If you do cork bark plants mounted, any plants mounted on wood or cork bark, or even like your moss pole situation, it's pretty high maintenance. You have to make sure you're keeping it wet all the time, keeping that moss, if you're using moss, moist. And if you're just using plain wood, you have to be pretty consistent with keeping that wood wet for the plants. So I was struggling. I did great. I had it going for about, I would say about a year. I had them mounted for about a year and I did really great for quite a long time, and then I started slacking off, which happens. It happens. So my thoughts were to get these plants looking better, I just have to get them off of the cork bark. So that's what I did. So the first one we're looking at is the Discidia numularia variegated. And this is the whole plant here. I just took it right off of that cork bark and I potted it up into soil. And I think I might have, no, I don't think I did. I thought maybe I put a little bit of moss at the top also, but I didn't. Not on this one. And I stuck this right into my grow tent. And it is so much happier now. It's no longer, it doesn't have wrinkled leaves anymore on the top. And it is actively growing, as you can see here and down here. So this plant just makes me so happy now that I managed to do it right, get it right with this plant. And yeah, love it. Discidia numularia. So its partner that was also mounted to cork bark, I also removed, and it was a little bit of a bigger plant, and I ended up making about four different propagations out of this one. This is the Discidia platyphylla. And this one's still, I mean, the leaves don't look beautiful on this plant. And I'm not sure that this one, I don't think this one has put out any new growth since I put it into, oh yeah, there is a new growth right here. There's a new growth point coming out on this one right here. So yeah, this is responding positively also. And I don't know if I said it, but both of these went into my grow tent after propagating them, after removing them from the, I hate when that happens. Little bits just drop out. They both went into my grow tent, and that has really made a difference for them. So this is another one of the platyphylla propagations I made, and you can see these are new leaves since propagating it. So, yay, happy. Happy I didn't let these just die off. I'm happy I did the right thing. I knew what to do and I did it. So yay, number one and two, I guess, success. Okay, so now we're gonna look at one of the bad ones. So this is now what we're looking at here. This is Hoya elliptica. And this plant, so it was sitting in a southwest facing window and it was getting blasted with sun. So I had actually moved it to that position I believe it was like the winter time, because this plant had already previously dry rotted on me. So I had to reroot it. I rooted it in water and then I potted it back into soil and I stuck it in this southwest facing window. And like I said, I believe that was around the winter time. Okay, so it was doing great. Through the winter, through the spring, it was like putting out a bunch of growth. And I was so happy with that plant. And then, was it summer? I guess this summer, it got blasted with that summer sun. And I probably wasn't keeping up with the watering. It probably needed watering twice a week, and I was just doing once a week. And it started to decline. So the leaves got burned, and the declining started from the top. So like when you have root rot, usually it starts at the bottom and works its way up. This started at the top and worked its way down. So I was losing leaves at the top, left and right. They were burned. They'd fall off, and it just kept going. Boom, boom, boom. So my thought was, okay, so I need to definitely remove it from that window, and I need to water it twice a week. So I tried doing that. I think I left it in that window, but I moved it out of direct sun. I just moved it out of the direct sun, and I was watering twice a week. And it still kept losing leaves, one by one, losing leaves. So I decided I had to chop it up. I decided to just chop it up. So that's what I did. And I made like 3 propagations out of that plant. And every single one of those propagated. Oh, and they went into my grow tent. So it's like perfect environment, nice lighting, humid, warm. But it was I think it was too late. I think I waited too long to try and save that plant, and it was just too late. So each one of those propagations died off. And this is what I'm left with. This is the original. This is the mother plant. It's toast. It's toast, I'm sure. I keep hoping like maybe like nature will find a way and it'll sprout up a new growth out of there. But really, I don't think it's going to happen. I have been leaving it in my grow tent, hoping, but I think it's time to say goodbye to this plant. So this was the Hoya elliptica. Will I try again with a Hoya elliptica? I don't think so. I don't think I will. I will not purchase another one. If I get one in a trade or something like that, then sure. But I don't know. Twice this plant tried to die on me. Well, once it tried to die on me, and then the second time it did die on me. So I kind of think I'm giving up on this plant. It is a cute plant. It has like thinner leaves. It's a thinner leaf plant, which surprised me. When I first got it, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting the more rigid, more succulent type leaf, where this is more just thinner and more pliable. That's how my plant was, is that if you have a Hoya elliptica, is yours that way? Is it like thin and pliable, or is it thicker and like mine, you could do the taco test on it. But like, your thicker leaves, like your Hoya obovatas, you can't do taco tests on that one unless they're like super dry. But if it's like in good condition, well hydrated, you can't do the taco test on those. But these, even when it was the Hoya elliptica, even when it was well hydrated, I could still always do a taco test. So is that how the Hoya elliptica is supposed to be? Someone please let me know in the comments, because that's how my plant always was. So yeah, so this is a bad. This was not a success. Hoya elliptica. This one is toast. Okay, so the next one we're going to be talking about is the String of Hearts Silver Glory. And I'll put a picture up. I think I'm going to put, actually I'm not going to put a picture up. I'm just going to tell you guys that this plant is fine. So what was happening with this plant is it was bald on the top. It had all kinds of growth down low. Actually, there will be a picture up there. There will be a picture. It was fine down low. It was lots of growth on this plant, but the top of it was bare. So my plan for that plant was to trim it. It needed to be cut because it was touching the floor in my kitchen. So I chopped it. I didn't save all the clippings, which was dumb. I should have like propagated that plant and put it into my grow tent, because now lately for some reason I've had a lot of requests for String of Hearts Silver Glory in my shop. So that was wasteful. Live and learn. But anyway, so I did take some of those clippings and I put them back into the top of the pot. Now, and then also I did add one of those lights that will sit in a pot. You'll see a picture of what it looks like here. But so I believe I did get a little bit of growth popping out of the top after I trimmed and replanted some of it at the top. But it hasn't been like really great. Like it isn't like really taking off. So I have decided to me it still looks kind of ugly. So I am going to start over with this plant. I'm going to just propagate the whole plant because, like I said, I've had requests for it in my shop, so a lot of it's going to go in my shop. And then I'm going to take, actually all of it's going to go in my shop as propagations, and then I'm going to take one of those propagations for myself, so I still have one, and I'm basically going to just start over with the String of Hearts Silver Glory. So I don't know what to categorize this one as. It's not a bad. It's kind of an ugly still, but it's also kind of a good because it's not dead, and I'm going to like redo it, bring it back to life, make a bunch of new plants out of it. So yeah. So I guess I'm gonna categorize that one as a good. That's the String of Hearts Silver Glory. Okay, so this next one we're gonna do another bad one. Actually, this one is a bad and an ugly one, and it is the worst. It did the worst. This is awful. This is a stinker. Okay, are you ready for this, you guys? All right, so up here, this is how it looked in the video. This is the Begonia Chlorosticta. And so this plant, when I received it, I got it off of Etsy. I received it and it went right into a greenhouse situation. I have these little houses, these little greenhouses. Maybe I can like turn this around and you can see down here. So right here, this is the greenhouse it went right into. This one right here. It was in there. It was doing great in there. It may have even put out a couple new leaves. I'm not sure. I don't really remember. But then it just kind of started gradually, just kind of, the leaves would start to turn brown. Leaves would die off. And it wasn't looking great. So it was in a bright location. It was in a humid environment. I couldn't, what more can I do for this plant? So then I was thinking, oh, and the top of the soil, this is the pot it came in and the soil it came in, and the soil just kept growing mold, like that white, fluffy stuff. So I thought, okay, well, maybe that's the issue. Maybe it's the soil just really sucks or something. So I thought, so that's my plan. I'm going to repot this plant, and then I'm going to stick it into my grow tent, because that is like The grow tent can grow plants so beautifully. It's like perfect in there, in that grow tent. So that's what I did. And the leaves that were there, those pathetic little ones or bigger ones you could see in the picture, those were still there, but then those started dying off. So I lost those, and then all that was left was the little tiny little ones at the very base of the soil, at the very base. And those actually were growing, and I was really excited. I was like, oh yay, I'm not going to lose this plant. And so they started growing a little bit, and then for whatever reason, they started declining again. And let me show you. This is what it looks like today. So you can see there is still a little bit of green. And it is potted in soil. Is it soil? Yeah. I did put it in soil, but then I did see, and it smells like mold. I hate that. It's just like, I don't know. It's maybe the mold was still on the plant and it just stuck into, I don't know, you can smell it. It's the same smell it had as when I first got it, that moldy smell. But you can see there's still a little bit of green there, but this is going into the trash. This is Begonia Chlorosticta. This is my second attempt with this plant because I did receive one, both off of Etsy, two different sellers. I forget what happened to the first one, but it died off. And I thought, well, I love this plant. I want to be able to keep this plant. So I tried again, and it's just not going to happen for me. It's not in my cards. It's not going to be in my collection. It's not for me, unfortunately. So this is going straight to the trash. Yeah, Begonia Chlorosticta. This is a bad. This is an ugly. Yep. Okay, so we just looked at the worst of the worst. Now we're going to look at the best of the best. And that is, okay, so the plant we're looking at next. Now let me show you. This is Hoya Sunrise. So now this plant, the issue with this plant was it wasn't growing. It was like, it wasn't putting out any new growth for me. When I first got it, it was doing great. It gave me those beautiful sun-stressed, it had the red leaves, it's just gorgeous. It was a gorgeous plant. And then that one got a dry rot or root rot, and I had to reroot it, and I rooted it in water, and then I put it back into soil and was growing it, but it just, ever since that root rot situation and then repotting, I just couldn't get it to grow anymore. It was like very stagnant. There was nothing, absolutely nothing. So my plan for this plant was to move it to my grow tent. Now, a lot of you suggested in that video that perhaps it has the flat mites, I believe they're called, that the Hoyas get, and that's why there was no growth out of it. I didn't think so. I really didn't think so, but you know, it's always a possibility, but I really didn't think that was the issue. So anyway, and then I had said in the video, well, my plan is to put it into my grow tent and see what happens. See if that grow tent can kickstart some growth out of this plant. And you guys, this is my greatest success. Here is my sunrise, Hoya Sunrise today, giving me so much new growth. Some of the new growth here, up here, down here, this whole piece, this whole stem here is brand new. Leaves just popping out left and right, and it's amazing. This is good right here. This is the Hoya Sunrise, and I'm so happy it's back. It's back. This Hoya is back. So now I haven't gotten like any really cool red leaves out of it yet. I'm not sure it will in my grow tent. I don't know, we'll see about that. I am actually thinking about not putting it. I just pulled it out of my grow tent for this video. I think I'm going to leave it out. I think I'm going to attempt to leave this one out. It's going to go on the shelf right over here, the IKEA Vitsjo shelf. I'm going to squeeze it in there somewhere, and hopefully I can get some sun stressing out of it. And I'm just super thrilled about this one. Yay! A success. So, like I said, I didn't think it was flat mites. I never thought it was flat mites. I wasn't seeing any symptoms of flat mites other than that it wasn't growing. But obviously it is now growing, and I'm just super happy about this one. That's the Hoya Sunrise. Okay, so for the last two plants, we are going to move to the living room because that's where they are, and we'll take a look at them out there. So let's head out that way. Okay, so here we are in the living room, and the next plant we're going to be taking a look at is right here, and it's the Variegated Maranta. So the problem I had with this one, and there will be a picture here of what it was looking like in the video when it was on my plants I wish were doing better list. So this plant, it was losing its variegation, it was losing leaves, it was the leaves were fading, and it just wasn't looking great, and I wanted it to look better. I wanted it to look beautiful. So it was living in my family room. I moved it to this room, the living room. In the family room, it was getting southeast facing. It was by a southeast facing window, southeast light. And then in this room, this is more like a west northwest facing window. In the afternoons, it does get a little bit of sun briefly, and it's just much brighter. This is a much brighter room. So I thought it might do better in this room, and it actually has. So while I haven't gotten a whole lot more variegation out of the leaves, still, it's still lacking in that respect, but it is growing. It is growing better for me in here. Still have some crispy edges, and I know I was told that if you water with distilled water, that will help with that. So I do try to only use distilled water. The only time I don't is if I'm watering my plants with like treated water for pests. I don't use distilled water for that. I do use tap water, so it does occasionally still get some tap water. But yeah, so this is a new leaf here. No crispiness, but still not really much in the way of variegation. So yeah, so I would classify this one as a good. This is still a good. It is a good. Yeah, but I'll still be working on this one, trying to get this one even better. So that's the Variegated Maranta. Okay, so we have one final plant that we're going to be looking at, and this is my Thai pink lipstick plant. So in the original, here's what it looked like, or over here, one of these spots. This is what it looked like in that video. So the problem I was having with this plant is that it was losing leaves, like it kept dropping leaves. So originally, and the reason I believe this was happening is because I had it in this window right behind me here, and I'll show you, let me just show you. So it was right in this spot right here. So right now I have my Hoya obovata variegata moved here, but the Thai pink lipstick plant was in that location. And it just kept dropping leaves like constantly. It was really bad. And they were turning yellow, and it was just not, it was not a good situation. So I knew in order to get it looking better, I needed to move it. So I did move it, and I put it hanging over here in the dining room, so it wasn't getting any direct sunlight anymore, and it started perking up. But then I decided I didn't like it in that spot for whatever reason, and then so I moved it. I moved it right here. So now it is sitting here on my coffee table, right here. It sits here, and in the afternoons, it does get a little bit of sunlight from the windows back here briefly, gets some brief sun, and it's not as full as it was, I don't think, in that struggle video, because like I said, it was dropping leaves. It was dropping leaves at that time. And then when I moved it to this location, I did trim a lot of those stems, a lot of the stems that were dropping the leaves. But this is a good, because even though it is now smaller, it is giving me new growth again. So this strand right here, this is all new growth. There's new growth up here. New growth up here. So it is absolutely loving this location on the coffee table. There's no longer leaves just dropping, like when I just barely would touch this plant, leaves would just start falling off. So yeah, it's coming back. It's a comeback plant, and I'm super excited about it. It's such a beautiful flowering plant. It gets those pink flowers, and yeah, so this is a good. This is a definite good. That's the Thai pink lipstick plant. All right, so those are all of my struggle plants, my plants that I wish were doing better. That is what they are doing now. So we had some good. We have some bad, and we have some ugly, and we have some really, really, really bad and really, really ugly. But for the most part, I think we're doing okay. So now, before I go, I wanted to share something with you guys that I'm super excited about. This really doesn't have much to do with plants, maybe a little bit, because back behind me here, all these plants, I have to remove all these plants. All these plants are coming down because if you can see to the right of me here, well, you see Nora's here, of course, she's joining us. Yeah, she's hanging out with us. But over here, sitting on the couch, I have one of my very favorite decorating things, which is wallpaper. And I'm so excited about this wallpaper. So this wall behind me here, this whole wall here is going to be wallpapered. I'm going to have an accent wall. It's going to be the only wall in this room with the wallpaper. And I just wanted to show it to you guys because I'm so excited about it. And like I said, I am going to have to remove all this stuff here to do it, but that's okay. So this is what I'm putting up. This is the wallpaper that is going to be hanging. Butterflies. You guys know how I love my butterflies. And I just think it's so pretty, and it's going to look so nice. So in all of my houses, I've always put wallpaper because I just love the look of it. So like in my very first house not my very first house, but my first house, my only house in California, I had this wallpaper, and these are like leftover remnants I've saved. I had this wallpaper in that room with these birds in my dining room. So pretty. And I'll put a picture of what it looked like also. So I had that, and then when we moved to Connecticut, I put this one in my living room, like around my fireplace. Love this one. And then also in my house in Connecticut, I had put this paper. I have a lot of this left, which kind of tempted to do something with it here, but these bunnies. So I love butterflies, I love birds, and I love bunnies. Isn't that cute? I had this in my bathroom, like the powder room in that house. And so we've been in this house for, I think, 2 years now, about 2 years. And we're slowly making it our own. We haven't done any super huge changes, but I don't know. I was sitting here and I was thinking that, all of my previous houses, not all, but most of my previous houses, I put some wallpaper on the wall, and I kind of see it as my mark. Like I left my mark on those houses with my wallpaper, because it's kind of, I mean, it's not permanent. You can remove it, but it's kind of permanent. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I was thinking this house needs some wallpaper, and so I got them. I get it at Anthropology because it's my favorite place to go for decor. And so I went on that site and I was looking at the different wallpapers, and I saw this one and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And at first I was thinking to put it on the wall with the windows, but I decided it would be like really complicated to paper around those windows. So then I thought, okay, even better would be just to do this whole wall. It's a pretty big wall. Tall ceilings, we have tall ceilings, and yeah, so I think it's gonna be really pretty. So we're gonna it's gonna look a little bit different eventually. I don't know when we're gonna get to it, but it's going to look a little different behind me. It should be a fun backdrop for future videos. So yeah, that's a little update, a little decorating update. I love decorating, you guys. So yeah, so that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed seeing my updates on my struggle plants and my plants I wish were doing better. I think for the most part, I mean, like I said, there were some real stinkers, but for the most part, I think everything's perked up, done pretty well. So if you did enjoy watching this video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. I do make videos every week, twice a week, and I'd love for you to be a part of this community. So I hope you guys are having a fabulous week, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Bye.